Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I can't believe this. No police? No police? Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters? Insanity is growing like a cancer all across this country. No police? Welcome to anarchy. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Come on in, Kate, start singing, and you start dialing. We need a great, great patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. And a good morning to you and yours. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, very safe, clean environment, and the best in tires. Stop in and see them today, along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you, and Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, let's start the program off right with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I love the smile in your voice. I appreciate it. God bless you. And put some more smile and radiant sunshine out there. It's a little wet.
I will do it, Zeb. Have a good day.
All right, thank you. Sean, there's just a little bit of feedback on there, if you could, coming down the line to my headsets, if you would. Right now, let's go to the weather forecast. And, of course, the weather, oh, my goodness, it's changed. I packed away all the winter clothes and the gloves and everything and unpacked them yesterday. K&R Rental brings us the weather at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. Holy moly, they got all the best of tools and equipment. I still think they got some snow plows over there, too. Yuck! And they've got the power rakes and all the rototillers for your lawn and gardening, everything. Be sure and get a hold of Roger and the crew for all kinds of equipment. You be sure and get a hold of K&R Rental. Number to call, 678-3122. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Wind advisory for today, frost advisory for tonight and early tomorrow morning. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Not starting the week off in grand fashion as far as weather is concerned. Mostly cloudy skies for today. Rain showers off and on, and we are expecting a high of 57. Winds could gust as high as 40 miles an hour. Now, those rain showers are going to be tapering off. For tonight, mostly clear skies, looking at a low of 37, gusts as high as 40 miles an hour, but that's putting us in that frost advisory. So you might want to cover those vegetables if you haven't planted for tomorrow. Sunny skies, high of 68. Wind's going to be dying down as well. Partly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 44 by Wednesday. Sunny and mid-70s, looks like mid-80s for Thursday. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I'm telling you. You know, everybody knows that I wear a bandana in the colder weather because, boy, my neck gets cold, I'm cold all over. And I broke out the old bandana yesterday. Weather forecast brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. As I said, they are right there to serve you. Get there early in the morning at 7 a.m. Roger and the crew really do a wonderful job on the rental of tools and equipment you need at K&R K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway. You stop in and see them today. Caller, I'll be right there, I promise. Stand by, don't go away. I want to remind everybody about Kevin and Cindy and the rest of the folks over at Darrow's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Nobody does the job they do at taking care of your clothes. I mean, the very best of dry cleaning, the very best of taking care of all your curtains, whatever needs cleaned, they can do it. Kevin and Cindy, super nice people. Kevin's recouping and back to work 8:30 to 4:30 every day. Darrow's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in, see them today. And real quick, before we take our first caller, I want to remind everybody, too, about friends that have been with us riding the horse for over almost 20 years on this program, and that's Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. They literally have that's the all-encompassing word, your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. Absolutely, with the best of staff and over almost 70 years of service to you. So remember, Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
First off, where is that global warming that we're supposed to be having? Aren't we supposed to be burning up by now?
Well, I put you in charge of it, Rodney. What did you do with it?
I don't know. It seems nature just didn't want to cooperate.
It's so...
First of all, I do not want to see what would happen if we had no police.
Oh, my.
I'm serious on this. If there were no police, we would not be able to sit on our porch peacefully, minding our own business, because there'd always be the chance we could get shot by some hoodlums.
Rodney, there would be nothing but total insurrection, chaos, terrorism. I mean, you wouldn't be able to go out of your front door for fear that somebody's going to come in and loot your property, rob you blind, possibly, like you said, shoot you. I mean, we're talking total chaos here, and the absolute insanity, and that's what it is, of the left to tear apart, fragmentize, and destroy America and its values. It's, like I said earlier, a cancer that's got to be stopped.
Yes, I don't want to live in a world like that. I want to be able to go about my business without having to worry about someone messing with me. I don't want to have to be looking over my shoulder at 24/7.
Nor should you. God bless you, Rodney. I appreciate it. Thank you for your call, and you have a wonderful day, please.
You too.
All right, sir. Thank you. He's right on. I've listened to almost every newscast over the weekend. I really sat there diligently until my channel-changing finger has got a sore on it. I can't believe this idiocy. I mean, it's complete lunacy. Disband, unfund, and destroy police forces? I can't believe this. Caller, stand by. Don't forget Dino Septic Service. Oh, I can believe those folks. They are the best at what they do. Dino Septic Service, septic tank pumping. You don't want to be out there pumping your septic tank. I know. We all try to be John Wayne, but when it comes to standing out there, no, you don't want to do that. And they do it. Septic tank pumping, septic tank and drain fields installed, liquid waste removal, sewer and sink drain lines cleaned, all of this and more. Great backhoe service, Dino's Septic Service. I absolutely implore you to call the numbers 436-6526 or 678-1638. These people are the best. With a big truck that says smells cargo on the way, Dino's Septic Service. Caller, good morning. Nice to have you on the program.
Good morning, Zeb.
My friend.
You know, we have a great law enforcement in Mini-Cassia. It's really, whenever I see one of them, I always speak to them and tell them what a good job they're doing. But, these folks that are right here in the Mini-Cassia area in the police department, most of them have started out at the very bottom where they, I don't even think they met minimum wage for the hours they put in. And I think that there's no more money in the budget, but they love their job and they do it well. And to have these kind of things come up like we're having right now is disgraceful.
Well, let me just jump in and say
is our Idaho State Police, those cars, when I see one, I think, man, we live in a great state, black and white.
Yeah.
We used to call them State Patrol, but they are really sharp people. They dress sharp and everything. My hat's off to all law enforcement.
Amen. Let me just say this, Keith, that this has got to stop. This has got to stop with this concept of anti-left America trying to absolutely abolish our police forces. This is unbelievable. And what's happening in Minneapolis, Minnesota, like I said, is going to grow like a cancer if it's not stopped now. Last week we had Minidoka County Sheriff Eric Snar on our program, and I really want to say thank you to him again for coming on and really telling it like it is. I am going to try to get Cassia County Sheriff Heward on the program this week. He was gone last week. I'm going to try. We need to have more involvement with our police, more involvement with our sheriff's offices, and I'm going to do it on this program.
Yeah, and one other note, at Boise, they had this, they called a rally or a demonstration or whatever, and this gal was painting on the Capitol building, spray painting.
Yeah.
I hope they throw the book at her, and I wish that they would keep us abreast of the punishment that she's going to face.
Yeah, I'm going to say one other thing, too. Very unfortunately, young people that are unknowledgeable people and haven't done any of the due diligence to study about these various groups and factions like Black Lives Matter. I noticed in Twin Falls in the paper Sunday they had like 125 protesters all saluting and standing up for Black Lives Matter. And I really wonder, Keith, how many of those young people really understood what Black Lives Matter and Antifa really have done.
They're just looking for a place to go and to be heard, but they don't have anything to say.
You got it. All right, my friend, I got another call waiting. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, sir. Caller, I'll be right there, I promise. I just want to tell everybody about Doug's alternator and starter repair. Hello, Doug Martin at 635 21st Street in Heyburn. And he's got his entire business for sale. Yep, lock, stock, and barrel. You better believe it. The shop, all the equipment. I mean, it's a turnkey business operation. And Doug absolutely will train the buyer of the business, too, and help you with the financing. You better check it out today. Doug's alternator and starter repair at 635 21st Street in Heyburn. Now, here's the number to call and get the information. 878-4991. 878-4991. Whole business, the whole shooting match for sale. Doug's alternator and starter repair in Heyburn. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. I can just imagine defunding the police. It would be a big payday for that Antifa scum and the rest of those sheep that are following him. Just imagine them there's no police out there going into your business, taking your day's receipts. You get on the phone and call the police, and the police will say, I got to put you on a waiting list, so we have nobody to go out there and take care of your problem. And these guys will go, it's happened in all those big cities. They'll go in from one store to the next, ripping the place off.
Well, there won't be
defunding of our police.
There won't be any businesses. There won't be anybody that is going to be even able, probably, to maintain a business because there'll be thuggery, there'll be robbery, there'll be beatings, there'll be the lootings and the burnings. There'll be total chaos. You won't be able to leave your home for fear that somebody is going to bop you over the head and take your money. Steal your car. I mean, chaos. Chaos will reign supreme. But this idiocy and how in the world it's being perceived by some to be a good thing of canceling out and defunding the police, I just can't understand that this is the United States of America anymore.
Well, it just seems we've got this gang running the the cities, and they start running the states, and they start running our city councils and everything, because I think the city councils are in fear that their lives may be in danger if they don't give these Antifa, what would you call them, assassins, their attention.
Yeah. I'm going to be standing up and trying to get a lot of the members of law enforcement on our program over the next couple of weeks and highlight this. This is the absolute idiotic movement that's going on by the left to just separate and bury the United States of America. Tony, I hope you and Mary are doing well. God bless you, and thank you for your call.
Thank you, sir.
All right, sir. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Deb. Well, the number one function of government at all levels, whether it's city, county, state, federal, is protection of life and property. And we're not seeing that happen. And so then when the president comes out and tries to rectify that situation and keep his oath of office to protect us, oh, my God, all hell breaks loose. He can't do that. He can't do that. It's just unbelievable. But can you imagine? I mean, these groups that are out there, I understand some of the Antifa people are upset because they were supposed to get paid $15 an hour, and George Soros has reneged on it. I don't know if you've heard that, but it came from a fairly good source. And so these groups are funded. They're going to be even busing into Illinois, where they're basically, it's illegal to even have a gun, and go out in the rural areas and cause mayhem. I think that got exposed and hopefully got stopped.
Well, wait a minute, Adrian, let me jump in here a minute. Let's have a two-way on this. Number one, I can envision, and I want you to respond to this, I can honestly envision that if you're farming, you don't go out to the tractor unless you're armed with a sidearm on your hip or a rifle in the cab of your tractor. I can envision that a truck driver is going to have protection right on the dashboard of his vehicle. I can envision a mom learning how to protect her kids at home while dad is away at work and for home invasion. I mean, we're talking about a absolute monster of lawlessness that could occur in this country when you don't have your police.
Oh, absolutely. And the most important elected position is not U.S. Senator or the Congressman or the Governor or a representative. Is it the Sheriff?
That's right.
Because the Sheriff stands between us and the tyranny that can come down from the federal government, meaning authoritarian-type control. And they have been trying desperately to take over all of our sheriff departments nationwide, and some of those sheriffs have capitulated. But, of course, along with those controls, money, to buy this and that and the other comes federal controls. You got to do this and that and the other, just like the education, Deb.
I honestly, Adrian, I got another call and I've got to get a commercial in, but I want you to respond to this quickly. I heard a woman on the news this weekend, and she was back in Minneapolis, and she stood up and said that we don't need the police because we can sit down and we can reason with people that are trying to do something illegal. And she wasn't done yet. She said that a lot of these people need mental health people, and we can help them coordinate their efforts to go see someone that can help them with their mental health issues. Adrian, please. Do you mean to tell me that there are people dumb enough to realize that when somebody's breaking into your home, the best way to handle the situation is to say, gee, I'll call a mental health expert and we'll be over here in the morning to talk to you? This is insane.
They are insane. They're totally insane. People like that, I heard that too, and I thought, what are these people smoking? Of course, a lot of these people are smoking marijuana or worse, and they're high. They don't know what they're doing. Well, anyway, I'm wondering if the governor's doing the same. The guy must be slipping over to Ontario or something, getting some marijuana, because paying $1,500 to go back to work, and the jobs, half the state's still closed down. It's ridiculous. But anyway, no, like you said, everybody's going to have to be locked and loaded. The Japanese, planned to invade this country until they found out that was not going to be a suicide mission.
Yeah.
Because everybody was, we were already armed. The public, but when people are getting paid $15 an hour by George Soros or whoever, that's not mental health. That is, total revolution.
Yeah, I gotta
take this country by force.
I've got to run right now, but
so forth, or allowing them to do that.
I agree with you. We're going to have total anarchy, and I'll go toe-to-toe with anybody on that. Adrian, thank you for your viewpoint again this morning. I got to run. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet. Have a great.
Wow. I mean, I'm really upset about this morning, and I brought on people for this morning, including Rick Manning and Raynard Jackson and Karen Leland and others, that we're going to talk about this. I mean, during the riots and the looting and the burning across the United States, there were over 300 police officers, some injured severely by these rioters. Okay? And I'm supposed to feel sorry for these people that are rioting, burning, looting? I absolutely salute the bakery back east. I think it was in New Jersey. And they armed the family with shotguns. They had shotguns, and they stood right there at the front door of their windows and the front door of their business. And they said, looters, burners, you better not try it, or we'll blow you away. And the looters and the rioters and the burners left and ran on down the street. Is that what we're coming to in this country? Good Lord, help us all. I want to remind you that this next week on the 18th, through the 21st, we're going to have some summer fun over at Denny's Restaurant. I tell you what, they have done so much over there to help serve you and provide you and your family the best of food and all kinds of goodies. Well, I'll tell you, we're going to be over there on the 18th with the lunch bunch, and they're going to have tables and chairs set up outside. I hope it warms up. And, of course, we're going to have absolutely a lot of fun with a duck pond of prizes that are going to be drawn for. Oh, it's just going to be a lot of fun. And you can enjoy the great food at 611 North Overland in Burley at America's Diner. Denny's Restaurant, great people serving you. And like I said, delicious food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner at Denny's Restaurant. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Do you believe I picked up and cut out all the different stories about defund the police, get rid of the police, and a majority, here's the lead paragraph in a story that was in the paper this morning. And you got to wonder where in the world these people are coming from. A majority of the members of the Minneapolis, Minnesota City Council said yesterday, they support disbanding the city's police department. 9 of the city council's 12 members appeared with activists and said, yeah, we're going to get rid of the cops. I mean, business owners, private citizens. Well, that's just going to be a destroying of a great city. I lived there. I lived there for 3 years going to college. It was a great city. I enjoyed Minneapolis. Very much so I enjoyed Minneapolis. Beautiful town. And now, that the city council, 9 of the 12 members are saying, disband, get rid of the police? What then? What then? I'm going to give away some cookies real quick. And I'm going to ask you a little tougher question this morning. And I urge you to call, but you're going to have to think about this one a little bit, okay? This one's not going to be easy if you want to win a dozen cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert, right on the square. What a bakery. Oh, my goodness. I mean, all the cakes, all the wedding cakes, and they've got just absolute. They've even got outdoor seating available right now. Now, however, today they might want to move inside. And all kinds of great, great cakes and pastries, everything, along with a great restaurant at Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Here's the question. Now, think carefully about this. It's going back into the 60s, all right? What was the actor's name that starred with Donna Reed on the Donna Reed Show as her husband? What was the actor's name that starred with Donna Reed on the award-winning at that time Donna Reed Show back in the 60s? Who was that guy? Who was that guy? First person to call with the right answer, and I can see all of you running to your computers right now. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
The actor's name was Robert Young.
No, it was not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, you don't have to be sorry. It's just wrong. It was not Robert Young. Okay. Thank you. All righty. Not Robert Young. No, that's not right. Nope, not even close. What was the actor's name that played the husband to Donna Reed on the old Donna Reed Show? And the two kids were pretty famous, too, and singers in the out of the studio lights type thing. But what was the actor's name that played Donna Reed's husband on the Donna Reed Show? Quickly, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. No, Robert Young was Father Knows Best, and then he also was in a doctor movie or series later on. But what was the actor's name that played the husband to Donna Reed on the Donna Reed Show? I can just see those fingers going on the computer going, Donna Reed Show, Donna Reed Show, Donna Reed Show. And somebody's trying to get the right answer. And we thank again Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert. All right, come on, somebody get that answer. And while we're waiting for the right answer, give me a call about some of this other idiocy that's going on in the world today. I just don't understand how this movement to defund and abolish our police force is going to be anything but total chaos. Somebody call me, and even some of our colleges, major colleges and universities, are stating that they are cutting ties with the police. That's right. You send your kid to school, let's say it's the University of Virginia or other places, and little Johnny and Susie, they're not going to be protected because these colleges and universities are cutting ties with the local police. Wow. What kind of a society are we? And by the way, something else needs to be said here this morning. Once again, please call with the answer to win those cookies. What was the actor's name that starred as the husband to Donna Reed on the Donna Reed Show? Come on, somebody's got to have that answer and win some cookies this morning. And I didn't think it was going to be that hard, but I'm sorry if it is. But what's going to happen, like we said last week on this program, when police are sent to a scene of crime or whatever the circumstances, and excessive force is needed not only to save their lives but the lives of others, and we have the shooting and or wounding of people of color that are involved in the crime, are we going to see this whole thing turn into another huge race riot again? Or do we just turn the other cheek and say, oh, well, gee, we don't want to upset anybody. Oh, well, gee, we don't want to create any havoc. We don't want to have any riots or looting, so I guess we'll let the bad guys go. Is that what it amounts to right now? Think about it, and please give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I really am worried about the elderly. I cannot wait. I had, again, last week, Sheriff Eric Snar from Minidoka County did a wonderful job on the program, and I salute him and his thoughts. And I'm trying very hard this week to get Sheriff Heward from Cassia County on the program. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Did you get an answer to your question?
Well, I did not.
Dr. Alex Stone?
No, not even close.
Then Google's wrong.
Well, wait a minute. I said the actor's name. I don't want a fictitious name. I said the actor's name.
Okay.
Yeah. So you better go back to Google.
Better Google again.
I said very explicitly, name the actor's name that played the husband to Donna Reed on the Donna Reed Show. Do you have it in front of you?
I misunderstood you. But on this defunding the police, every politician that calls for that, if they have a security guard, should be pulled away from them. So here you go.
Doug, what would you do? What would you do all of a sudden? Now, you do not live within the town. You live outside in the rural area, right?
Yeah, you could, about a quarter mile.
All right. Somebody is in your house at 2 a.m. in the morning. Someone is in your garage. Someone is taking your car. Someone is setting a fire to your garage. I mean, all of these things are horrendous, but what are you going to do? Who are you going to call?
Yeah. Well, first, they better have an ID on them so we can notify next of kin.
Yeah, but right there is what the bad guys and the left want you to say. They want a completely chaotic society where absolute chaos reigns, and that's what they're aiming for.
Exactly. They want it to go back to, remember the stories of the Old West when these new towns would come up, you know, and then the vigilantes would come in and, you know, somebody does something, so they just have a hanging party and go hang him. They wouldn't even be a trial.
Yeah.
And that's what they're wanting us to go back to, a lawless country, just like it was in the Old West when it was first being formed.
You have to have a civilized society with laws and regulatory means of affecting those laws to the public. And I just can't even imagine. What about our elderly? Are they going to be held prey in their own homes? Are they not going to be able to walk out the door because it's so easy to walk up, bop them over the head with a baseball bat, take their money, take their car, drive off? Nobody's going to give them any reprimandation. I mean, it's going to be over. I mean, crime's going to run rampant.
Exactly, and they're calling to release the people from prison.
Yeah.
So they want a lawless society so they could claim martial law, because this shutdown was a practice run for what the Democrats really want for this country.
I did not understand. Caller number 2, don't go away. We'll be right there. I did not understand at all how the Minneapolis councilwoman said that, well, we need to get away from the police and we need to stop a fear and create, she said we need to create a fear-free future. How do you do that?
It's a utopia. It's a dream. It's a pipe dream.
Oh, yeah, but you know something? And
the only way you can be fear-free, Zeb, is to have laws and enforce them very strictly.
That's right.
If you do not enforce them, you cannot have a fear-free society.
I will not ever say that there haven't been many instances. I'm not going to say in all cases, absolutely not. But I'm not going to say that there hasn't been injustice that has been, let's say, given out to different racial problems. Yes, there has been a lot of injustice. But you don't cure the injustice by having a chaotic, no-law society.
Exactly. And this Black Lives Matter, if Black Lives Matter, why aren't they up in arms about all the black people that are being killed in Chicago by other black people? They don't give a dang. Why aren't they up in arms about that retired sheriff that got killed defending a friend's store?
So sad.
Why aren't they? I mean, they are so selective and so hypocritical.
Yeah. And yet
they lose all respect.
And yet,
And anybody that has any common sense.
And yet we even here in this area of Magic Valley, if you saw the pictures in the paper, I had over 125 young people that were advocating for Black Lives Matter, and I just cringed. I almost started to cry over this because these kids are so ill-informed.
Exactly. And that's what happens when the government educates your children. They teach them what they want them to know.
I agree. I got another call coming in.
Anything that would be relevant for them to make decisions in the future.
Amen, Doug. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, one more quick comment. When 9/11 happened, we were not supposed to blame all Muslims for the act of a few.
Yeah.
So why are we blaming all the police for the acts of a few?
Very good point. Thank you, my dear friend. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
God bless. Let's take care of our senior centers.
Absolutely. Now more than ever. Thank you very much. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello. Could the answer be Carl Betts?
Who are you?
Kay Harkness.
Kay Harkness. I'm going to write that down. Kay, God bless you. Now, I'm going to ask you got to be honest when I ask you this question now. Did you have to look it up, or did you know the answer was Carl Betts?
I looked it up.
Well, God bless you.
Picture in my brain, but I couldn't figure his name out.
Well, you have won the cookies, and get a hold of Sophie's at 530 East Street on the square in Rupert. Call them and tell them you're coming over for your cookies, Kay. God bless you.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. It was Carl Betts, the actor that played Donna Reed's husband on The Donna Reed Show. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. You remember on that show, The Ten Commandments, when Moses was being questioned about the law and all that, and he said, "There is no freedom without the law."
That's true.
Yep, that's absolutely true. There is no freedom without the law. Instead, we just have chaos.
Well, yeah, okay, let me turn it back to you. That's why, Rodney, and I'm sure you will concur, there has been the Bible and the Ten Commandments and all of our faith geared towards what's right and wrong.
Exactly.
All right, my friend. God bless you. Thank you so much. Very well stated, Rod. Thanks. Very well stated. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, I'll get into that momentarily. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, Linda.
I have lived through 4 times in my life when things were very, very unsettled, either on a family level or on a college level, or on the national level, as it was in 9/11, in the college level as it was during the 60s and 70s, when we had so many demonstrations, and a couple of other times. And I am thankful that the police were available.
Absolutely.
The Eugene police, I was in Eugene at the time of the demonstrations in the 70s, 60s, and early 70s. And the Eugene police would show up in their police bus, and because we would have all kinds of riots on campus and so forth, they were really cool about it. They didn't just wade into the bunch, but they were there, and they were prepared, and I was very glad that they were.
Yeah. For as much as you have been around and as much as you have seen, can you imagine, Linda, quickly before I go to the weather forecast, a society that would absolutely revoke police protection into a Wild West setting of everybody cut some portals, gun portals in the wall of your homes because you got to protect your family every night, stick the guns out the window and shoot? I mean, this is insane.
Yeah, it is. I could just imagine me with a gun. I might be dangerous. That must be myself. Oh, my gosh. I thank God that we do have people we can call on for help.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I had a house fire once, and the first person on the scene was a lady from the Minidoka Sheriff's Department who had heard the call and happened to be close to our home. And there she came, this officer, asking, is there anything I can do for you?
Well, I got to tell you, my experiences with law enforcement have been absolutely 999% positive. I think the world of these people for what they do, how they do it, and I will do anything on this program to support them. But this idiocy in Minneapolis, very unfortunately, is a growing cult, if you will, across the country, and that really scares me.
It is. I don't know what people are. They jump on a cause.
Yeah.
They jump on a cause.
Without education.
My teacher in college used to call it true believers.
Yeah.
They believe in anything they can follow.
There you go. Linda, it's always good to hear from you with your beautiful voice. God bless you, and thank you for calling.
God bless you, Zeb, and thanks for all you do.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you. Wonderful, beautiful lady. Nobody sings the national anthem as good as she does. What a job. Let's go to the weather right now, and the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And where are they? Well, I'll tell you. They're right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room, and they offer the expert diagnostic testing for your hearing health. And they can help you then. By golly, just give them a call, make an appointment at 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957. The best Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. So right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Wind advisory for today, frost advisory for tonight and early tomorrow morning. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Not starting the week off in grand fashion as far as weather is concerned. Mostly cloudy skies for today. Rain showers off and on, and we are expecting a high of 57. Winds could gust as high as 40 miles an hour. Now, those rain showers are going to be tapering off. For tonight, mostly clear skies, looking at a low of 37. Gusts as high as 40 miles an hour, but that's putting us in that frost advisory. So you might want to cover those vegetables if you haven't planned it. For tomorrow, sunny skies. High of 68. Wind's going to be dying down as well. Partly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 44 by Wednesday. Sunny and mid-70s. Looks like mid-80s for Thursday. That's a look at your weather for 7th.
Oh, my. Better towards the end of the week like summer should be. And thank you very much. And our thanks go out to some wonderful people that are really concerned about your hearing health. And that's Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. The number to call, 312-0957. 312-0957. Serving you and your hearing health, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. 43 degrees outside right now. It's a little chilly. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zeb. You talk about bravery and people who are not afraid to talk out or speak out. That's you.
No.
The Times News, some of that propaganda they put out, and you know what? They don't try to retaliate against you because they know you're right.
All I'm going to say to you is I'm just going to be honest. I don't want any of the accolades whatsoever. I don't think anybody in this business does, Keith, but I'm going to be honest. And I'm just going to say, when you get into a pinch today, you get into trouble, you get into a situation that could be very harmful to you, your family, and your surroundings and your property, who are you going to call? At their stage, they say, well, call a mental health expert. Are you going to call a bouncer at a bar? Or are you going to call your cousin Vinny that works for the mob back in Philadelphia? I mean, this is insanity to think that we could ever defund and get rid of our police.
Well, like you say, we can call Ghostbusters.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but that's not the answer. We have got to just keep doing what we're doing and protecting our law enforcement and be proud of them.
Let me ask you a question, Keith. You just celebrated a birthday, and this is extremely rude of me to ask, but how many birthdays have you celebrated, if you don't mind my asking?
Well, I've had a lot of them, but I haven't celebrated that many. But anyway, 83.
All right, at 83 years young, honestly, answer this. Did you or Nancy ever anticipate that within your lifetime the idiocy would be portrayed on the television, radio, newspaper, etc., to defund and get rid of police in America? Did you ever think of that?
Never once in my life did I ever think of that. You know, I think back when I was a young man before I was married. Some of my driving habits were not acceptable. And the police, all the police, I knew them by their first name and everything else. And most of the time, they just give me a reprimand. And because I wasn't really harming anything, they were kind about it. And I would have went to the end of the earth for any one of them if they were in a pinch.
Absolutely.
And that's the kind of people most policemen are.
I just can't imagine a society without having the protection of police. And here's something else, too. What about your fire department? What about your fire members of local departments? I mean, how are they going to go out and take care of things with all the mass anarchy? I mean, they're going to be sitting ducks for somebody that wants that fire to burn, and they may be under siege. I mean, this whole thing just reeks of stupidity.
Well, I've seen sometimes, and I'm not really a person to go to the city council every meeting or anything, but when something comes up that is kind of serious, they usually get a pretty good crowd there, and it gets resolved without any rioting or any stupidity.
I just don't understand how anybody in their right mind, therein lies the problem, these people are not in their right mind, can say or think that we need to abolish law enforcement, and like that stupid woman in Minneapolis that said, oh, well, we want a fear-free futures, that's why we want to get rid of the police. Fear-free future? You won't have a future, for Pete's sakes.
Yeah, and you know, they need to make an example out of this gal that painted on our Capitol in Boise. That's an insult to me and to you.
Absolutely. Throw the book at them. I agree.
You know, you got to make an example out of people once in a while for the others to adhere.
Yeah. Keith, always appreciate your calls and concepts and thoughts. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you for being who you are.
I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Want to remind everybody about Berry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service and Parts. 3 locations serving you, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Hello, Corey and the crew over there. And Eli's at 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin and the Napa location. They got all the equipment. Corey was on last week telling us about whatever the job is, they've got the equipment for you. All the Bobcats, all the trenchers, all the scissor lifts. They've got all the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators with the best of financing programs and lease programs. So you be sure and get a hold of them today. Good folks, Berry Equipment and Rental, Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, she's back in the news again this morning, and that's Hillary Clinton. Yes, she got off the back porch, out of her rocking chair, and tried to make a name for herself again in the news. And she said, anyone with a heart and a mind should not support Donald Trump to be reelected. Anyone with a heart and a mind should not support Donald Trump for reelection. Well, those of us with a heart and a mind did not support Hillary 3.5 years ago. It felt good, too, didn't it? Tell the old girl to head for the pasture. Anyway, Hillary's back in the news again, denouncing and criticizing and belittling people that voted for Donald Trump. I wish she would just go away, and I wish it would be their job to have a roll of duct tape and just make sure that it's fastened securely over her lips. Hillary Clinton, a disgusting lady. What have we got coming up in the next hour? I cannot wait to visit with Rick Manning. Rick is a straight shooter right in the heart of the swamp of Washington, D.C., and he's going to tell us what's going on with this no police movement. My goodness. Then at 9:30, don't miss Raynard Jackson. Raynard Jackson has been on our program many, many times, and he has spoken out about black issues and what needs to be done and not done. He's going to be on at 9:30, so don't miss. Those two guys are going to be great this next hour. And right now we're going to turn it back over to our main studio as we're going to progress through the pitfalls and pratfalls of CBS News and be back in about 7 minutes. Have a good day. Well, good morning and welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley. Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with a safe, clean environment and the best in tires. Stop in and see them today. Your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. And, of course, don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing, Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, can we please have the good word for Western Waste?
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at the Georgia's disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, and had a call the other day, as a matter of fact, after the program, and they said, well, we're new in the area. What do we do to get a hold of those folks? And I said, well, like I said on the ad during the program, just call 734-6969. Tell them where you live. Tell them what you want to get done. Tell them about being on the route service. They can help. They will help take care of all your garbage. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them today at 734-6969. Want to urge you, too, to remember that in a time of crisis and need, when there's the passing of a family member, don't forget Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, his family, and his staff serving you. And they have very flexible hours they're always there to help you and provide the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort. And remember this, always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Hanson Mortuary, Joel Heward, family and staff at 710 6th Street in Rupert. And the telephone number to call, 436-5636. And remember, Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Big things are going to be happening at Denny's Restaurant June 18th through the 21st. Oh, they're going to have a great, great summertime outside fun time. That's right. They're going to be setting up tables and chairs outside, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And that's located at 611 North Overland in Burley. They're going to have a duck pond with all kinds of prizes in it, and everybody's going to be sitting around outside enjoying the delicious food and the great service from fine folks that work there at America's Diner. Denny's Restaurant. We're going to have our lunch bunch over there on the 18th, so everybody be there at 11:30 on the 18th at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Yes, sirree, it's true. America's Diner. There is a gentleman on this program that is absolutely the most knowledgeable and the most straightforward of any guest that I have had. And he's back in and or near the swamp of Washington, D.C., so he knows what is going on. President of Americans for Limited Government. Good morning. I hope you're safe. Rick Manning, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Zeb?
Well, I got to be honest with you, Rick, and again, you and I have never had the occasion to sit down over a cold adult beverage and a steak, but we're going to one of these days. I, for the first time in my life, am really, really concerned, worried, and wondering what is going on in this country when we hear the thoughts and the rants of various people, city councils, etc., to defund and disband police forces. What in the hell is happening?
What's happening is America has forgotten to pay attention to local elections. George Soros hasn't. Local elections are driven largely by the public employee unions, and in some cities, whoever wins the Democratic nomination wins the election, and so they become, and the people most likely to go out are the most radical, the people who are the most liberal vote in the Democrat primaries, and the people who are the most conservative vote in the Republican primaries. So in single-party situations or states, you get the most radical left-wingers in place. When you fuel those radical left-wingers by a Democrat socialist movement that is vibrant, it is very well-funded, and is determined to take down America, you end up with a Minneapolis City Council who nine members vote to end the Minneapolis Police Department, which is, one of the stupidest things that you can imagine. But that is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has endorsed the defund the police movement. We're going to see this going around the country. And here's the dirty little secret, Zep. The real problem, police accountability is a problem. The real problem is that because of public employee unions, we're not able to weed out the few bad apples that make everybody else hurt everybody else. That actually, the few bad apples in the police departments are a giant threat to the rule of law, because if you can't depend on the police to be fair, honest, and not violent against you if you make the mistake of rolling down your car window on a bad day for them, then there is no rule of law for certain people. And, so we have to be able to fix it. But the way to fix it is by changing the union contracts in such a way that that police that they're able to be fired when there are multiple circumstances that, like the person that was responsible for the death in Minneapolis. So it's a real challenge. It's a real challenge, but we have to deal with the core issue of the police contracts. Defunding the police is insane, but it's a direct result of single-party rule in cities, and the people from the farthest left being the ones who are driving the politics in those cities.
Rick, explain to my audience, in your opinion, I already did mine in the first hour, as to the chaos, total insurrection, total insecurity for everyone living in a lawless land without any regulatory means of controlling it with our police departments. I can't even imagine everybody's going to have to go to the grocery store wearing a 45 and having somebody cover their back with a shotgun. This is ridiculous.
We've seen that in the last few weeks. We've seen areas where the police effectively abandoned the areas, and we saw the looting. We saw what happens. I mean, we don't have to imagine. We witnessed it over the last 2 weeks. When the rule of law breaks down, we very rapidly lose the veneer of civilization. And when you see people, it's just amazing visuals. There was the one that just kind of struck me as being, it's because it's a little funny also. So they broke into the cheesecake factory somewhere, a restaurant, and there was a woman who was carrying out a cheesecake, and her loot was a cheesecake. And I'm sitting there going, what are you doing? It's the same offense, but when the rule of law breaks down, what's yours is mine, and what's mine is mine. and no business is going to open up. Minneapolis thinks they're going to rebuild. They want federal taxpayers to give them like $55 billion or something to rebuild Minneapolis. Well, sorry, folks, because you're not going to convince a Target, which is, by the way, Target's headquarters is in Minneapolis. You're not going to convince Target, Walmart, any major store to reopen in Minneapolis if you have a police department. You're certainly not going to convince anybody to reopen if you don't have a capacity to protect citizenry. And oh, by the way, when you get in a crash, your car collides with another, nobody's going to come up. Nobody's going to show up. Figure it out between the two of you, because nobody's showing up in a squad car to try to sort it out. So these folks have abandoned all reason. But yeah, they would go to even in the Wild West. Wyatt Earp would show up and restore order. Sometimes, not usually in a way that would be supported by civil libertarians today, but he would restore order, and then he'd go on until he'd go to another place.
You have to wonder and question the mental stability and, to be very blunt, the stupidity of people like one of the Minneapolis councilwomen that said, well, we want to disband the police because we want a fear-free future. I mean, this is total lunacy, Rick.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to explain it in a blunt way. In order for communism, for a dictatorship to take over, society has to fail. That is the recipe for a dictatorship to take over. They never say up front, gee, we want a dictatorship to take over. No, they say things like, we want to be free from fear of police, so consequently we're going to make it so the police don't really exist. And then you have anarchy. And then people say, we need a strong man to come in and fix it. And that is the recipe for establishing a totalitarian government. And no matter what you call it, it ceases to be a representative democracy. And this quaint notion of individual rights endowed by our Creator go away as people demand security at all costs. And at which point, then the dictator runs free, and we don't have any options. That's how you create and so that's what they're doing. It is clear as day. That's what they're doing, and anybody who falls prey to it and falls for this is either uneducated or believes that they will get to be the dictator. Because ultimately, a dictatorship sounds really good if you get to be the dictator. Not so good if you don't. So so the people pushing this are the ones who think they're going to end up on top of the heap and be able to share the spoils. And that's that's a sad situation, but it is true, and it is the recipe that they are brewing.
Rick, this next circumstance I wrote about in my weekly blog last week. And we have a caller. I'll tell you what, caller, I'll take your question first before I go to the next part of our interview. Go ahead quickly with your question for Rick Manning. Real fast, go.
I'm just confused and want you to bring me up to speed if you could. As if they go into a dictatorship, they still have to have some form of law enforcement to do the ruling for the dictators.
No, that's absolutely true. They're not getting rid of it forever. They're creating anarchy, so then they can come in and restore order, and they restore order with their own police, and it's not a police that is from the people. And so they come in with an iron fist to restore order. There's no doubt.
So there still has to be some humans that go along with this project so that it's successful.
Yeah, well, let's not confuse the situation and think the left is telling the truth. They're not telling you what they want in the end. They're telling you they're acting on emotion right now, saying, and some good people go along and say, oh yeah, we have to get rid of the police. It's the only way to start fresh. And in doing so, they are putting they're they're essentially creating the environment which they know will occur, which will allow them to come back in and say, we have to restore order. And in restoring order, they will, at that juncture, you will have the notions of civil liberties will be out the window.
Right.
And because order will be restored, but it won't be restored in any way that's recognizable here in America.
Absolutely.
I agree with you on all counts, except for good people will be drawn into it, because if you get drawn into it, I don't think you would be a very good person.
People can get tricked all the time.
Absolutely.
It all depends on where you get your information from. Ignorance, a lot of people are ignorant, and they're ignorant, deliberately kept ignorant, because they get their news through certain sources, and they don't have a diverse set of news sources, and that makes them unaware. People on the right, we all have diverse news sources because we can't avoid the left, because the left is omnipresent in the media. But people who only get the dominant media really don't have a baseline to understand what's going on.
Appreciate your call, caller. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Good work, both of you, man. God bless.
All right, thank you. Rick, I've only got about 8 minutes left, and I want to get into this. I wrote about this in my blog last week, and I saw this on television, and I was so taken aback. It just left a lasting impression on me to see a young woman that was dressed in jogging clothes confronted by a member of Antifa. And the Antifa member said, you'd better do as I say because others are watching you right now. Get down on your knees and apologize for your being white and your white privilege. And she did so. I was so shocked. The words I want to use right now this morning, I can't. To think that human beings would make them bow down to other human beings. I will say this, I only bow to one being, and that's God himself. And human beings be damned. And this situation just really upset me. What are your thoughts?
What you witnessed on that video was an emotional rape. The person was basically threatened if they didn't take an action, which humiliated them, and they did so in order to avoid other being attacked. And that is while it's not a physical rape, it is an emotional rape. And notice that the Antifa person didn't choose to pick a 6'6" jogger, picked a woman with blonde hair in order to intimidate them. And it's repulsive, and this is the essence of this new left. It is, you will bow to us. You will bow to us and under the threat of victimization. And that is we're witnessing something that I don't think anybody believes could happen. But the fact is, these people have been bred through our university system, where the idea of systemic racism has evolved into white privilege, and this idea that all white people are and somehow need to be put in their place. The concept that color matters. It's no longer the color of your skin, content of your character being important. It is straight color of your skin. People being judged by the color of their skin. And we're seeing that, and quite honestly, these thugs, these brown shirts in Antifa, it's why they have to be stood up to. That's why they have to be defeated. It's why we have to infiltrate and undermine and destroy them, because we cannot allow for a fascist army to be running around trying to impose their will on the rest of us and meekly accept it. It's why we can't allow them to defund police departments, because if you defund the police department, who's going to run things? The cartels and the fascists. The Antifa people become the enforcers. So you want to have a system where you randomly are called out and have to bow down. You have to sit there, and if it's Muslim prayer time, you better get on your knees and bow towards Mecca. You want that system? Allow these people to win, because because that's the system they're creating.
Absolutely.
America's waking up to it. The kids on college campuses have been putting up with this nonsense for a decade, and nobody really knew. Nobody paid much attention. But if you don't bow to the leftist regime in college, you pay a penalty. You pay a real penalty, not just from being ostracized, but also in your grades, your ability to get recommendations to go to a good grad school. All those things end up working against you in the colleges that are the breeding grounds of this nonsense. So ultimately, we've said this before, Zeb, we have to get control of our higher education system, and a state like Idaho needs to wring this out of their higher education system and out of their entire education system now. If you wring it out of the system right now, you fire any professor who's involved in this, you get rid of all of them, and you make your students safe.
Amen.
And we have to get it state by state. Education's a state thing.
Amen.
We have to get it state by state. We have to root it out state by state. And I predict that places like Idaho would become education havens for people who don't want their kids indoctrinated from around the country if they were to root out this problem.
Let me ask you real quick, Rick, and I've only got 2 minutes left in this segment. The Black Lives Matter is another organization that I fear, underline that word fear, because they're indoctrinating our youth. We even had about 150 kids right here in the Magic Valley, southern part of the state of Idaho, joining in and supporting Black Lives Matter. These kids, and I don't think that they have any education about what's really going on. They're very naive. What are your thoughts about Black Lives Matter, real quick?
Black Lives Matter is a slogan which sounds good. Here's what it means. Black lives matter more than other lives, because otherwise you could say all lives matter and not get fired in some places. So the fact is they're trying to say Black lives matter more. And once again, it's an attack on the idea of egalitarianism, the idea of all men created equal. And in fact, it's dangerous. The Black Lives Matter movement, their manifesto is a communist manifesto. It's for equal distribution of property, it's for confiscation of property. So there is no, Black Lives Matter is just a name and a front for the communist movement around the world, and we now have a bunch of naive kids marching around saying it, not realizing that what they're actually saying is my life doesn't matter if I'm not black.
Absolutely. I wished I had more time. It goes way too fast. President of Americans for Limited Government, a great friend of this program, Rick Manning. God bless you, and I mean that. Stay safe, and look forward to next Monday. Thank you so much.
God bless you, Zeb. And Zeb?
Yes.
Always good. Take care.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Very much. Right now, I got to tell everybody about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. My dear friend Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists over there. I bit my tongue and it hurts so bad. Don't forget they're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And if you're recuperating from a surgery or an accident, I urge you to call the number and let them help you get back to being you. The number is 678-1191, 678-1191. They've got all the exercises, the hydrotherapy pool. It's all there for you to feel better. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Again, call that number, make an appointment, 678-1191. Want to also mention to you that our dear friends at Let's Ride. Now, it's a little bit muddy out there right now, and it's going to dry up towards the middle of the week, and we can get out on the side-by-sides or the four-wheelers and head for the hills, get on a trail, and just enjoy. Let's Ride, located at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Now, here's the hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 2, and they've got a showroom full of fun. I mean, all the side-by-sides and the four-wheelers. They've got a super accessory department and a service department that'll keep you running. Absolutely. I urge you to get over there and see my friends. Let's ride 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the entire world, and this is where the fun is sold at Let's Ride. If you're over in that area, I urge you to also see some other friends of mine, and boy, do they believe in the word service. And I'm talking about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, with Todd and the rest of the staff. Wow! Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, they are very devoted to serving you and dedicated to making sure that everything is just A+ for you and your family and your business. You get a hold of them today, 436-4424. And I'm talking about the best. Old Todd will do all he can to make sure you're taken care of. And that's Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Good folks. There are a lot of guests on my program that absolutely tell it like it is, or I won't have them back. That's the plain and simple of it. This next gentleman always tells it like it is, and I have the utmost respect for him. He is a Pulitzer Prize nominated columnist and president and CEO of Raynard Jackson and Associates, and I just think he is going to enlighten you as to what's really going on right now. Good morning, Raynard Jackson. How are you?
Hey, Zeb, my friend, how you doing?
Well, Raynard, I'm not going to waste any time beating around the bush this morning, so to speak. I want you to come on and tell my audience your thoughts about this absolute chaos and insanity that has overtaken our country since the coronavirus and all the big news about that, and then all of a sudden going into this absolutely heinous crime of murdering George Floyd. But then the left taking it over and turning it into a denigration of America itself. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Zeb, listen, you know me for a while now, and a couple things. The bright spots I see is, Zeb, I am so proud of America because other than a couple of buffoons, I have heard nothing but unanimous condemnation of what happened to George Floyd. I mean, from blacks, from white, liberals, conservatives.
Yes.
Everyone universally has said he was murdered, and there's no place for that in America. And to me, that's a hell of a step forward because typically in a police situation, as you well know, people revert back to their respective corners along racial lines. This is one of the few times in a police situation where the whole country has unanimously condemned what we all saw. So to me, that's a step forward. But my question is to conservatives, Zeb, is where are our voices out here in the media, both on the liberal media, conservative media, newspapers? We need to be denouncing this liberal foolishness, and there's a difference between peaceful protest, Zeb, which I think everyone in your audience agrees that's a fundamental principle of America. But for you to riot and loot and burn buildings and shoot policemen and throw bricks at them, unacceptable. We need more conservative voices to stand up and push back on this liberal foolishness that's being propagated in the media.
Raynard, okay, and please do not be upset at me for saying this. It is easy for us to say this and do it verbally on a talk show, but how are we going to get this done? I absolutely abhor what was done to George Floyd with the heinous killing of that man that was way over and above the pale. However, to take that and turn it into a degradation and a complete destruction of America and its major cities is totally insane. How do we stop this?
But Zeb, see, you're falling into the liberal trap. There are a lot of black conservatives like me in St. Louis, in Ferguson, in Baltimore, in New York City. Do you really think, Zeb, CNN and MSNBC are going to put them on the air? Of course not. So when we have a Republican governor or a Republican senator or a Republican city councilman, why don't we take those guys and say, hey, find these black conservatives that you know in your neighborhood, in your community, that live next door to your cousin or your sister in Chicago, and let's help get them on the air. Let's give them a voice. Let's give them a platform. Because I'm telling you, Jeff, as you know, I've been black most of my life, and I'm telling you, the overall black community agrees with us more than what the CNN and the MSNBCs would lead you to believe, but we do not provide them a platform to get their message out. That is the problem. And it's totally within our power, meaning us conservatives across the country, because there's no way. We got the bully pulpit of the White House, and they can pick up the phone and provide a platform for the people you and I are talking about, but they have not done it.
Raynard, did you ever, in the years that you've been an adult in this country, did you ever anticipate that you'd be hearing like the Minneapolis City Council saying we got to do away with the police, we've got to defund them, and then other cities are picking up that hue and cry across the country to get rid of police protection? This is insane and total chaos for America. It's got to stop.
But Zeb, the Minneapolis City Council is not saying that. They have done it. They passed a veto-proof law in Minneapolis waiting to see if the mayor is going to sign it. And if the mayor vetoes it, they have enough to override the mayor's vote. Minneapolis has already done it. New York City, Los Angeles, those two mayors are going to reduce their police budgets, both of them north of $140 million each, and give it to midnight basketball. This is insanity. You know what, Deb? This is a great opportunity for conservatives because when I talk to some of my friends back home in Ferguson, Missouri, outside of St. Louis, and we had this same discussion, not one black I know, and these are Democrats, support the abolition of the police department. That's total insanity. And if we conservatives will get our butt out and learn how to communicate with the black community, guess what, Jeff? We can bring those folks into the fold. Period. It's very easy.
I do not understand, and you and I go back, 12, 13, 14 programs being on my show, and I mean this with all due respect. I don't care if you're black. I know you don't care if I'm white. Why can't we all sit down at a table and figure out the answers to great big race problems, supposedly in this country, and work it out so that it's better for humanity? We're all God's children, but it doesn't seem like anybody wants to make any progress.
Okay, let me tell you why, Zeb. Now, I want you to listen good to me on this one. Do you realize over the past 50 years with Johnson's war on poverty, do you realize we have a whole infrastructure set up on the liberal side that is dependent on problems in the black community? And if we ever solve these problems, they wouldn't have a job. The NAACP, the Urban League, these guys are funded based on these problems, and if we ever solve the problem, they wouldn't exist anymore. And so a lot of liberal blacks have gotten into the middle class predicated on these pathologies in the inner city communities existing and getting worse. If they were to ever get better, guess what? They would actually have to go out and find a real job.
Oh, my. I never looked at it that way. You're 110% right. We have a caller with a question for you, Raynard. Stand by. Caller, quickly, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Well, Al Sharpton's been, blackmailing basically people in his own community, in his own black community all his life. And as far as I know, he's not even really a reverend. And, the fact that we still listen to this, that people still listen to him, it's just like the other day, Rush Limbaugh was on with, the Breakfast Club, and they never said one thing on that show, the Breakfast Club hosts, that was logical and true. Candace Owens, I'm sure you must know her. You guys agree. I'll hang up. Thanks.
Respond to the caller, please, Raynard.
Well, interesting, Zeb. I don't know, but I sent you my column that came out yesterday. I talk about Rush Limbaugh, and I've been taking a lot of heat because I criticize Limbaugh for what your caller just talked about. Rush Limbaugh, went on this popular radio show that targets the black hip-hop community, the Breakfast Club, and he, for whatever reason, thought he would be able to build a bridge. After the show, a couple of days later, one of the hosts of the show came out all over the media and said, hey, talking with Rush Limbaugh is a waste of time. How many times, Zeb, do conservatives have to reach out to liberal blacks only for them to call them a racist or a waste of time before we learn? Wouldn't it be better for the conservatives to spend more time with black conservatives versus black liberals?
Absolutely. You know, Raynard, when you look at the race issue today in this country, I think I already know how you're going to answer this, but I want you to explain it. We went through 4 years ago the Mueller report, Russia, and then we went through the impeachment because of a call to the Ukraine. And then, of course, all of a sudden, the coronavirus hit this country, and now the coronavirus is kind of subsiding a little bit, and we have the riots in the streets. It seems like no matter what happens in the last 4 years of Trump's presidency, the left is going to reign supreme with anarchy. Am I wrong in my perception?
No, you're absolutely right. And but I know I sound like a broken record, so please forgive me. But again, when are conservatives going to learn how to effectively communicate directly to the black community? Because they are begging us as conservatives to provide a viable option to the liberal Democratic Party, and we are not doing it. This President Trump, Zeb, has a great record and a story to tell within the black community, but it's not being effectively told, and that's our fault, and we need to do a better job of communicating directly to the black community, because again, Zeb, there are blacks like me all across the country, but who is providing them a platform in their local community, and the media, the local newspaper, the local radio show, the local webcast? I mean, we have the solution to all the issues we're talking about, Zeb, but we got to quit sitting up here thinking, as a white conservative, we know more about the black community than a black conservative. Just like with you, Zeb, you will have your staff pick up the phone. Hey, let's get Jackson back on the phone. I mean, it's amazing. Now, you way out in Idaho, and yet I spend more time on your show than I do on Fox TV. Explain that one to me.
Let me ask you this, Raynard. We're looking at a situation to where I really fear for this next election. I fear that we're going to get the left in there in its power with whether Biden or someone else. I fear of the politics of the left. I fear on the energy programs. I fear on our economy and everything else that they would totally disrupt. But also, what about the Trump administration? What about his campaign people? What do they need to do in these last 5 months to try to put themselves to where the votes are going to come their way?
Two issues they need to focus on, in my view, Zeb: entrepreneurship, school choice, and vouchers. If they hammer on those two issues incessantly, repetitively, obsessively every day, and if they learn to surround themselves with some black conservatives who understand communications and who can put together a effective communication strategy to go take our message directly to the black community, Trump will get 15-20% of the black vote. And mathematically, Zeb, if he goes from 8%, which is what he got in 16, to 15-20%, mathematically, the liberals cannot win a presidential election. It's numerically impossible. So all we need to do is add another 7 points to what he did in 16, and that's a reasonable lift if they get on the ball and start doing it the right way. Right now, I'm not optimistic.
When you say you're not optimistic, I'd like a little bit more clarification. Do you think right now that Trump's reelection is in severe jeopardy, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, what I've been telling people is the Democrats can't win in November, but the Republicans can lose. What the Democrats are offering, even reasonable Democrats are not buying into to get rid of the police department, anything like that. But the Trump administration, if the election were held today, if we were to get, say, 3% of the black vote, I would think that would be a miracle if it was held right now. But he has a small window to correct the ship, but he's got to start speaking directly to the black community about entrepreneurship and school choice and vouchers. And it's got to be a message on steroids where not only the president is talking about it, but he needs to have a cadre of surrogates of black conservatives there who have credibility in the black community, and he needs to fan us out all across the country in those 10 or 12 states that are going to be swing states: Ohio, Missouri, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia. We know where the states are, Zeb, and we know who these black leaders are in the conservative community, and it's just a matter of the campaign getting on the stick, and right now I'm not seeing any of that happen.
Let me ask you a final thought here, Reynard, and that's why I value you coming on my program. What are your thoughts if the left wins this next election with their far-out policies on the economy and the environment and the handling of our Constitution itself? What are your fears about this next election?
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, I normally don't engage in over-the-top language, but I'm telling you, if we lose and a Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton type gets into the White House, we're going to have open borders. We're going to have a devastated economy because they're going to go with these $20, $30, $40 an hour livable wage mandates they're going to put on the corporate community. We're going to have this whole push for environmental, this Green New Deal, which would devastate the private sector and devastate our economy. And so I'm telling you, Jeff, if you want to know what America looks like under socialism, all you got to do is look out your window today, because with these governors telling you you can't go to work, you can't go to the gym, you can't go to church, you can have an abortion, but you can't go to church, you can go get to a marijuana dispensary, but you can't go visit your family, and they want to tell you what kind of, you have to wear a mask. If they're telling you you have to wear a mask, what's to stop them from telling you have to wear a blue suit? You got to have a white tie. You have to have a T-shirt on. Where does it stop? We are getting a preview of what socialism looks like under a radical liberal democratic administration. And if you think it's bad now, Zeb, imagine if they have the power of the White House on top of this.
Absolutely. Is there an opportunity for Reynard Jackson to be more deeply involved in politics to the point where I could announce on my radio program that you were considering a run for the presidency? You're a man of great knowledge and I think great equity for all the races. Is there an opportunity?
Zeb, I'm like Barry Manilow. I write the songs. I don't sing them. So I support good conservative candidates all across the country for governor, city council, dog catcher, mayor, and that's what my strength is. And I may have an announcement by the end of the week. I'll keep you in the loop. But there's some things going on, not about me running, but me being more involved within the party to help deal with some of the issues that you and I talk about on your radio show all the time. Because I'm telling you, Zeb, our country as we know it is at stake in November, and we cannot afford defeat. I mean, this is about who we are as Americans, and if we go down in November, the country goes down in November.
Amen. Amen. I cannot wait to hear what the news release is going to say, but I will tell my audience you are listening to one of my dearest guests on the show. I respect him 110%, Reynard Jackson. God bless you, man. Thank you, and I'll look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much, Zeb.
All right, take care. That gentleman tells it like it is, and he's a Pulitzer Prize-nominated columnist and president and CEO of Reynard Jackson and Associates, and you're not going to get any baloney from him. He's going to tell you the straight truth. I appreciate him. Right now, I'm not going to give you any baloney about the weather either. I'm going to tell you that it's brought to you by our friends at Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And I'm really high on these folks. Really, really high on these folks, providing a best of accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. They are the professionals, the best at tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, bookkeeping services, retirement planning, and they've got 2 locations to serve you, one in Burley and one in Rupert. Work with the best. Work with the professionals. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Wind advisory for today, frost advisory for tonight and early tomorrow morning. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Not starting the week off in grand fashion as far as weather is concerned. Mostly cloudy skies for today. Rain showers off and on, and we are expecting a high of 57. Winds could gust as high as 40 miles an hour. Now, those rain showers are going to be tapering off. For tonight, mostly clear skies, looking at a low of 37. Gusts as high as 40 miles an hour, but that's putting us in that frost advisory. So you might want to cover those vegetables if you haven't planted for tomorrow. Sunny skies, high of 68. Wind's going to be dying down as well. Partly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 44 by Wednesday. Sunny and mid-70s. Looks like mid-80s for Thursday. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Wow, you talk about peaks and valleys in our forecast. Wow, it's cold out there. Anyway, our weather brought to you this hour by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And, of course, providing accounting services to you, your family, and your business. They are the professionals. Get a hold of them today with offices at 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, the professionals. I know yesterday, Deanna and I, a lot of people drive by and they go, they're crazy, they're sitting outside on their porch. Well, yeah, we sit outside on the porch, and then on other days, when the wind's not going to hit us in the face, we sit out in front of my barn and kind of meditate and talk about what needs to be done and how we got to get it finished. And yesterday, I'm telling you what, it was bandana weather. Yeah, it was bandana tied around the neck and a Carhartt jacket and my old hat brim pulled down. Woo! It was a little chilly outside. And it looks like it's going to stay that way for a while. Calls are welcome. I got time for one more call, and while I'm waiting for your call to come in, don't forget our friends at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley, with Curtis and Lorena and their staff. And I urge you to go in there and shop for all your electronic needs, and then a portion of the money that you spend there will go towards helping local charities, and you can vote for your local charity, and the top 2 vote getters are going to get $500 each to the best charity. Yep, $500 for this charity and $500 for the next charity. That is really a neat idea. Through Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley, with the very best of all the home theater systems and the complete sound systems, all your TVs, everything. They're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. All right, give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Our economy is on the upswing. Even though the Democrats and the left are sitting there with a skull and crossbones in their lap, they can't stand this, they won't accept it. Our economy is on the way back. Job numbers are way up. It blew the minds of the so-called experts last Friday when the job numbers came up and the job filling numbers were way up. Our recovery is on the way. Get out of the way and let the recovery happen. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Jeb. I just wanted to, it seems like you talked so fast over those last 2 presenters that they made a point that was really important to me, and I wanted just to bring it up. It was simply with regard to the issues that are going on now. There's an infiltration going on that's appalling to me, and let me just speak bluntly, if I can. In the Kimberly School District, which is not too far away from you, it was until the pandemic came and the kids were sent home, they were mandated to listen to CNN for 15 minutes a day. That makes my blood boil, because that's part of indoctrination. with regard to that, I have heard of several individuals from this district now moving to, guess where? Murtaugh, to put their kids in a place that doesn't have this type of indoctrination. So I would say shame on the school board and those people that allow that type of thing to happen. And I know I'm not the only one. People are going to diss on me for saying that, but something needs to be done to fix that in our local community.
Well, let me ask you, what did I talk too fast about? You made that statement. Now clarify it. I don't think I talked too fast about anything.
Both of them brought up the fact that there are issues with regard to media, that the only forum that the liberal and the communists are using is the media. Both of those presenters talked about that, and I think we've understood that, but I don't think, realize how far penetrating that is in our local communities, who what I believe are mostly conservative.
Oh, I'll go along with that, and I know who you are, caller, and I respect your opinion. But I don't know if that was a criticism aimed at me or not, but we only have so much time in every segment, and we had to go through all the points that we could. You've heard this program before. Wait a minute. We can't talk over each other, Dave. Dave, wait a minute. We can't talk over each other. Every day on this program, you know the conservative values, and I'm chastising people for allowing all this garbage to take place, whether it's in the school, the family, or in politics.
Well, I appreciate all that you do. I just think that we need to continue to have people like you heighten the awareness, and I appreciate those people that you bring on the show that helps us kind of understand and get the picture. It's just like it's a small voice in combating what we're inundated with, and it's just
I agree.
It's almost too little.
No, I totally agree with you 110%, but I'm just like one voice crying in the wilderness, and I need the support from you and others, and you have always been there, and I appreciate that. I got to run to the news. Call me after the program. We'll get you set to come on the program. Thank you. There's a good guy right there. He really is a outstanding spokesman for agriculture, what's going on and what should or shouldn't go on. And that's Dave Roper, and I respect him entirely for calling in. Yeah, you know, conservative voices, stand up and let's start talking against Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and others, and especially this garbage of no police. Good heavens. Speak up, audience. Speak up. We've got to go to the news from CBS. I'll be back in 7. Oh, we got to get right back in the boat and float it. Here we go. Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with a very safe, clean environment and the best in tires. Your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. And don't forget, too, our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you, along with our good friends at Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Oh my, what a beautiful place this is. A 12-bedroom home, and it's just right for seniors to live there with their friends and enjoy daily great meals 3 times a day, snacks, housekeeping, local transportation. What are you waiting for? Pick up the phone and call. Make an appointment to see this facility, Greystone Crossing. The number to call, Matt or Kelly Wiggins, 650-4979, and make that appointment today. Greystone Crossing Senior Living, where seniors are living the good life with their friends. Want to also remind everybody, too, about our friends with 7K Metals. My. 7K Metals, of course, silver purchases sent right to your home. Wow. I mean, you can really build your own financial security and future while you're creating a security bank and also a valued treasure for your loved ones in the future. You want to find out more? I did, and you can, too. All you have to do is call Lon Hardy at 3 312-8699, or Sharon Wilmot at 430-3259, and they will help you. Don't forget 7K Metals with silver purchases sent right to your home. A great saving opportunity. 7K Metals. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the phone line. And with us is Karen Leland. Good morning, Karen. How are you?
I am good. Good morning to you.
Karen, right now, after the last 3 months, and boy, anybody that's been in business can attest to the fact that it's been a rough and tumble 3 months, trying to stay alive, stay afloat, and not have the business go under. You are going to give us some ideas as to how we can move forward, really, in a time of what's going to happen next, right?
Absolutely. As I've been saying to my clients, the last 3 months have been a smoker.
To say the least. Have you ever seen anything like this in the business world, Karen, to the point where we were shut down by the restrictions of government and people are losing their business, losing their minds, to be honest with you, and then told that they can't open their business? I mean, this isn't the America I grew up in.
Not even after 9/11 did I see this, because that was an incident that occurred and then things kind of, revved back up. No, I've never seen anything like it. I don't think anyone has.
Well, in regards to that, how do we overcome this and try to stay, like I said earlier, afloat in the boat to keep our businesses going? What kind of innovations or changes do we have to take part of?
Well, interestingly enough, a lot of the businesses that I'm talking to and consulting with and having conversations with, they've really worked to reinvent their businesses, to find what part of their business is online. And you would be surprised how unbelievably, how much ingenuity and creativity the American businessman has, especially small businesses. Just creating the most amazing ways to do this. Like, I'll give you an example. This is a silly one, but somebody I know runs a bra fitting company in New York, right? Normally, if you think about it, well, you wouldn't, but a woman would go in, she'd get it fitted for a bra in person. And I asked the owner, I said, well, how are you doing this? And she goes, we're doing it virtual over Zoom. Then we're sending people a variety, and we're letting them return what doesn't work. And she said, we're booked. And I'm like, that is genius. So you're finding a lot of people starting to do stuff online and figuring out a way to do it. Even businesses like that you never would have thought you could have done that with.
Well, there's some of us old cowboys that are pretty well set in our ways, and we don't know all the modern technocracy and technology. What about us? Are we going to get left in the dust?
I hate to tell you this, but yeah, get with it.
Okay. Well, thanks, Karen.
The technology, it's not that hard. You can Zoom, I promise.
Whatever the business might be, regardless of whether it's clothing sales or maybe it's machinery sales or any business, what are some tips that you would give the small business owners on maybe sitting back, reevaluating, and redoing their business?
Well, one thing is everybody's got to be looking for new offerings for a new normal. We've got a new world right now, and you've got to have offerings that meet that world, that are going to be commercially relevant in the new normal. And almost everyone has that. So it's really sitting back and saying, okay, kind of therefore what? If this is where we are, therefore what? What does that mean for my product, for my service, for how I do my business? Like, look at all these people that had conferences, right, that were happening. Like, I had a client may have a big conference in Europe every year. About 9,000 people come from all over the world. Well, that wasn't going to work, so they had to figure out what to do. And instead of having one conference that goes for a week with 9,000 people that attend, they went from not knowing anything about how to do stuff online to having a virtual conference every day that has 9,000 people attending the conference every day online.
Holy smokes. What about the innovations, though, to learn? I mean, here we've had 2.5 to 3 months of shutdown, and whether it's a gym or whether it's a jewelry store or whatever, everybody now is hoping that they can get back on track and try to make some semblance of an income for this year. A lot of people don't know and don't understand marketing and media. What would you tell them?
That's a great question, because the reality is that marketing has dramatically changed as a result of this. Something we're saying in marketing is you need to be serving right now, not selling. And part of that is looking at things like, for example, refocusing your message. How can you get your brand message so that it's really around the capabilities and the features that are most relevant today? How can you launch a new offering that has minimal investment to it that drives people back to the store, that drives brand awareness? Do you need to look at repricing? Like almost every small business owner I know has readjusted their prices, at least for now, in order just to get people back in the door.
Well, all this, I guess I'm going to go to the bottom line here, Karen. This takes money. And quite frankly, a lot of business owners haven't got two nickels to rub together to make a dime right now. What are the costs of trying to remake or redo your business?
And this is really the challenge, and I'm completely with you on this one. This is really the challenge. So the thing I'm telling people is the lowest hanging fruit is your social media and your website. Think about it like this. There's more eyeballs than ever right now looking at people online. It's a major place people are checking out businesses, whatever kind of business you are. And so looking good online, right, having your social media together, having your website together, it's relatively, I'm not saying it just doesn't cost money. It does, but it's relatively less expensive than a lot of other things you could do, like advertising or getting your store together. And so everybody needs to really be investing that small amount of money in making sure their social media, their online presence, their websites are up to speed. Like, I'm making sure all my clients that that's the very minimum low-hanging fruit that they're doing.
Let me ask you this question, and I may sound naive to some of these problems because I'm basically a one-horse operation. But what about the employees? What is the enticement or the welcoming back mat for these people to come back to work? What if they don't want to come back to work? What are you going to do then?
Well, that's an interesting problem, because I've had a few of my clients say to me, I've got employees that have said, I'm making more money on unemployment than I would coming back to work. That's a problem. But I suspect, given that because, right now people are getting an extra amount of money, not the standard unemployment, which was totally reasonable given the situation. But my understanding is, at least for now, that extra is going to end in August. And so you're going to have people who are really going to start to realize they do have to go back to work. I don't have an easy solution for that, because, there are people like, I'm this kind of person, I'm sure you're this kind of person, and I think most people are this way. Most people don't just want to get a check and not do anything. They actually want to be productive and go to work. So it's not just the money, it's the sense of contribution and making a difference and being useful. My experience is that's most people. However, there are some people where they're just happy to collect a check and not have to work. And that's really going to be a problem that businesses are going to have to solve. The good news is that pretty much if you're a business, you can have the pick of who you want to come have work for you. The job market is very competitive. And so I think that's going to sort itself out. But we can't continually have things that incentivize people to just not work. It's a funny balance, because we have to take care of people and make sure that people are empowered during this period. But as we start to open up and people go back to work, we have to make sure we're appropriately counterbalancing that with not actually encouraging people not to work, because they can make more money if they don't work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And you kind of piqued my interest on what you said a moment ago. And I was thinking about the big box companies in your community versus the mom and pop stores up and down Main Street. Myself personally, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think right now would be a great advantage and opportunity to re-streamline, reconnect, and possibly rethink the mom and pop businesses to be more affordable and more applicable to everybody's daily life if they do just a little research and change their business. Is that right?
Well, absolutely, 100%. That's what I'm saying about new offerings for a new normal. Most of those businesses actually do have an opportunity to participate in the economy the way it is now, but they do have to do some rethinking. I mean, listen, I've had to do rethinking. I've had to rethink how I offer my business and what I do in my business as a branding and marketing strategist. I've had to rethink that. So, I think it's definitely where small businesses need to go. Because let's face it, small business is still the heart of this country. Small businesses are what drive the economy. Small businesses are what employ a lot of people. It's not that big corporations aren't important. They are. But they're not the day-to-day drivers of the economy. Entrepreneurs and small businesses are.
One of the items I noticed on your cheat sheet of ideas and information about this morning's guest interview was you had getting rid of bad customers. I want you to go over that a little bit.
I did indeed. Well, this is the thing, is I've had a few people call me and go, oh, this person is, it's the 80-20 rule. This person's 20% of my business. They take 80% of my time. There's so much going on. I wish it didn't happen, but it's a pandemic, so I can't get rid of them. And what I said is, no. Unless it's a matter of you starving to death, because, we don't want you to not be able to put food on the table. Don't keep bad customers, especially right now, because those bad customers will take up your time and your energy that could keep you from reinventing your business, finding new customers, creating new offers for the new, the new normal. They're just sucking up time and energy that you could be using to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So unless it's a matter of like you eat or you don't eat. I mean, that's a whole other situation. But unless it's a matter of that, you really don't want to be keeping bad customers even at this time. The cost is just too high. The sunk costs are too high.
Right. Karen, what about, pardon me, but going into the restaurant business right now, and many of the restaurants are told with the social distancing and all the problems of the coronavirus that they can only do about 30% of their return business. How can they make a living, and how can they look at a profit on just 30% of what they need to fill the place?
Well, that is a really, really good question. And, it's funny because I live in New York, and there are 2 restaurants that just opened up about 2 weeks ago near me. They're all doing takeout. And I said, how are you guys doing? He said, actually, we're doing pretty good. So, I think this is one of the things that's going to have to be figured out. Of all the industries that I think are going to have the hardest time coming back, I think restaurants are going to see, in some ways, the biggest sea change. One, because it's just what you said. How do you function on 50% occupancy if you're a restaurant, right? Or 30% occupancy if you're a restaurant. Does that mean that you increase your prices 50%? Well, that's not probably going to work very well in the times that we're in. Does that mean you're going more to a takeout model? I really don't know. It's one of the big challenging things that I think we're going to face. Plus, I'll tell you something else I think has happened. I think people have gotten used to eating at home with their families and cooking at home. And I'll be interested to see if the demand for eating out is pent up and comes roaring back, or if the demand for eating out is somewhat reduced. I'm not saying either way, but that's one of the things as a branding and a marketing strategist I really have my eye on.
Let me ask you this. Where we live in the state of Idaho, of course, our economy here in the state depends a lot on tourism. What about tourism? Is that going to be one of the hardest businesses to restore, whether it's tourism via car or cruise ship, whatever?
Yeah, I think tourism is another one that's really going to be hard hit. It's like I have friends who live in Hawaii, and they're telling me that, Hawaii still has not opened back up to tourism. And even where it has, if you fly into Honolulu, the government's requiring that you quarantine for 14 days. So, who's going to want to fly in, quarantine for 14 days, and then have their vacation? So we do have a huge issue with tourism, not just in the U.S., but around the world. And that's, again, one of those things that we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But my prediction is going to be, for at least the next 6 months, you will not see a strong recovery in tourism for at least the next 6 months.
What about you, Karen? Are you available on your website, or can people sign up to talk to you, whatever, to learn more about what your ideas are on perhaps salvaging and creating a better business?
They can. People can go to my website, which is KarenLeland.com, or they can go to Sterling Marketing Group, same company, KarenLeland.com or Sterling Marketing Group, and I do something I call a rent my brain session. So they can talk with me about their business, and I can help them figure that out. And there's lots of books and alternatives and lots of ways to interact. And I have podcasts and consulting and lots of ways, people free and not free, that they can get my support, and I'm always thrilled to do that.
I'm absolutely very thankful that you took the time to come on our program, and that's KarenLeland.com. Is that correct?
That is. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for such great questions.
Well, you're very welcome, and please come back in the future, and thank you. God bless, and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
God bless you. Be safe out there.
Thank you. Karen Leland, and some great ideas and tips about small businesses coming back in our economic times. And once again, go to her website, KarenLeland.com. Thank you. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, while I'm waiting for your call, I want to remind you about our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Lots of good things going on over there, and I'll tell you what some of them are. Daddy's Day, Father's Day, right around the corner. Yep, what is Father's Day? The 21st. It's just 2 weeks from now. And if you haven't got Dad anything, you're sitting there, what do I get him? What do I get him? What do I choose? What size does he wear? Wait a minute. Why don't you just, to kind of ease the problem a little bit, load Dad in the pick-him-up truck or the car, take him down to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Take him by the hand, go on in the door and say, Dad, you're going to pick out your own comfy recliner. Oh, have they got a selection of recliners over there. You're going to love it. He's going to love it too. All the furniture, all the carpet, all the floor covering, everything for you at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, this morning I had a thought. Minneapolis doesn't like their police department anymore, several other cities. So all these towns and communities that love their police and respect their police need to see if they can find room in their department for one more and put out the come on and join our force. And if they don't want them, we'll take them.
You know, I think there's going to be a rude awakening to this country, and I want your response to this. I would say it would only take 1 week. 1 week of no police, no 911, nobody helping at a intersection with an accident, nobody helping with a robbery at a store, nobody helping with a gunfight down at the local supermarket. It's going to take 1 week, and these idiots are going to realize the error of their ways.
Amen.
Thank you for your call. I like that idea. It's a good idea. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Welcome. God bless.
I think there's a lot of room across the country where they could get some good, qualified, bona fide police. And if they're back in Minneapolis and other cities, to be fair, that's stupid to possibly think about defunding police. Really, if there's one person within the sound of my voice, one right now, take the time to call 436-2244 or the toll-free 1-866-927-4587. If there's one person out there that wants to defund police, take away the budget, get rid of the police, at least have the backbone, or the guts, if you will, to call and tell me why and how. Please, one person. And I don't think we're going to hear from anybody. But if we do, I'd like to understand why they want to have a completely wide open, chaotic, terror-filled society where anything goes and only the strong survive. Somebody, if there's anybody out there. Let's see, what else have I got here? There is a movement in this country, as you know, to make all of us bend to the left or else. And such was the case with the National Football League. I love pro football. I love football in general. But I am right now absolutely twisted and torn as to whether I want to see the NFL go back into effect or not. After Roger Goodell said basically that the NFL is going to change their viewpoint on kneeling for the flag and really saying that the players that kneeled for the flag, they weren't showing disrespect and we're going to support them. He basically apologized for their actions, and God bless President Trump for calling Goodell out. He called him out. and we're going to have a land of no respect. We're going to have a land of no respect for our flag and our forefathers and all the blood, sweat, and tears that was given for us to live in the greatest country in the world. And when they say, please stand for the national anthem, everybody's going to sit there and eat popcorn and drink a beer. Roger Goodell and the NFL should be ashamed of themselves. You have to have standards. You have to have morality. And you have to have right and wrong. And I will not cave to these athletes like LeBron James and others. Good morning, caller. Quickly, I got 2 minutes left.
Hey, Zeb, it's just Vicky. I think he put me through too quick.
I think he did, too. You scared me.
I agree with you.
I'll tell you what, stay on the line or we'll call you back one or the other because I've got some things at the bottom of the hour that we have to do first, and we'll get right with you, Vicky. Thank you.
That'll work.
All right, God bless you. We're going to have Vicky's Country Garden. Well, she's ready. I'll tell you that for sure. Vicky's going to be on the air in just a couple of minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to start making some decisions in our society, whether it's here in Magic Valley or whether it's nationwide. We've got some decisions to make, and there has to be some strong voices behind those decisions. Whether we're going to stay a free nation or if we're just basically going to be taken over by the vermin and the creeps. No law, no respect. You're going to have to make that decision. Right now, we're going to send it back over to our main studio. We'll be back in about 3 minutes with more on Zeb at the Ranch.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Oh, don't forget my dear friend and your friend, of course, Doug at Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. The business is for sale. Tell your friends and neighbors, call Aunt Martha and Uncle Fred. Tell them at 635 21st Street in Hayburn. It is for sale. Lock, stock, and, of course, all the equipment on the inside. Great, great business opportunity. Great business location of Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair at 635 21st Street in Hayburn. And the number to call and find out more, 878-4991. Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair, and he will train the new buyer of the business. Get a hold of him today. Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair, 878-4991. Right now, let's see if she's ready to go for the second time on a Monday. Good morning to the lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden.
Good chilly morning to you too, Zeb.
Holy smokes, are you going to come over later so we can have a snowball fight, lady?
I think so. I said I hope everyone enjoyed that summer day there on Friday.
Holy, what happened and what is happening to all of our gardens?
Well, they're sitting out there thinking, I want to go back to summer. They don't really like this weather too well.
You know, if plants could talk and they could visit with each other, what do you think the cabbage would be saying to the radish right now?
It would be saying, I'm moving to California or Arizona. This is ridiculous, man. But we do it every year. I mean, it's kind of one of those things. The main thing is just, you know, for people to realize with all this cold and all this wet weather, don't go out and add any more water to things. They don't need it right now in these early stages. You'll just cause a lot of problems.
What does it do, though, Vicki, with the peaks and the valleys? I mean, pardon me, we were at 90 degrees last Friday. Now we're down early this morning when I signed on, we were in the 30s. Wow, that's 60-degree variance.
Well, it is, and it's very hard for the, you know, it affects the production, you know, the plant's production system. I mean, they don't know whether to set on product or whether to just give up and quit. I mean, it definitely does have an effect on how much produce is going to be done in the fall, because right now is when the plants are generating their energy and getting ready for, you know, to set on production and their reproduction cycles, which is their seeds and their, you know, the tomatoes and the peppers and everything with all the seeds. And it affects the ripening, it affects everything. I think we're going to have another year like last year that nothing would ripen on the tomatoes. You know, just keep growing. And once it gets hot, then it kicks them into growing again, so they slow down and then they take off, and it just affects the energy in the plant.
Which is the cold weather hardest on? Would it be the gardens that were planted maybe a month to 6 weeks ago, or the new gardens that just went in last week?
Basically, it's going to be the toughest on the new gardens. Anything that's just coming up, beans are just coming up, and with this wet, cold weather, they can damp off where they get too wet and too cold and just die right at the ground. Cucumbers, melons, all of those kind of things do not like this cold weather whatsoever. Tomatoes and stuff will handle it. They, potatoes, beets, those kind of things, that'll all handle it. But it's your little crops of your melons, your radish, or your melons and your cucumbers and pumpkins, those kind of things, squashes and that, beans, the little tender ones that have the watery stems, the little guys that are just coming up, that's the ones that don't like it. Radishes, peas, onions, all the tomatoes, all of that kind of stuff will handle it fine. Peppers don't like the cold weather, but usually they're toughened in enough to where once it warms up, they'll take off and go again.
Well, we do have frost warnings out, and I'm just looking through here that it's showing that we're going to have lows down around that 39, 40 degrees, possibly even lower with wind of about 25, 26 miles an hour. Wow. I mean, what about tonight? Is there any precaution that can be taken?
If you've got any kind of cover that you can put on your gardens and stuff, I would definitely do it, because if the clouds roll out and the wind quits, that's when it's going to drop down and get us. To me, 38 degrees is just a little too close to 32.
Yeah, really.
And out in the outlying areas. In town, people are going to be possibly a little safer because they have more protection, with other houses and things like that around. But out in the country, I'll guarantee you there's going to be some gardens that are going to get hit. So if you've got buckets or you've got anything that you can put over the top of your tomatoes and peppers and get some cover on the little stuff, I would definitely do it. Just because if you cover them, it won't freeze. If you don't, it will. I've learned that over the years.
Let me ask you a dumb question. And I just thought of this, and you can go ahead and laugh at me because I'm not a gardener. But what about getting some wooden stakes, maybe 3-4 feet high, and wrapping on the outside perimeter around your garden like some plastic? Would that help cut down the wind and also create kind of an inner heat shield?
Well, it would. You can, and anytime you can break that wind off your plants, they're gonna have their own natural resistance a little bit. But the wind weakens them, and then the least little bit of frost will really take them out. But yeah, anything that you can do, like I say, put some stakes in the garden and make tents over your garden if you've got tall stuff so they don't get mashed down. Trick is getting everything to stay in place when you've got this flipping wind blowing all the time.
Yeah. What else do we need to be concerned about here this second week of June? I mean, my goodness, if everything goes awry, is there still some time to plant?
Oh, yeah, you can still plant. Beans can be replanted. I've got a lot of people replanting beans. Even corn can be replanted if it freezes down. Of course, tomatoes and stuff, hopefully you'll have enough cover on them to protect them. But, pretty much everything can be replanted right now. It just, if it ever warms up and stays warm, the plants will take off and grow really fast. But you can reseed a lot of things right now if we get in trouble and we lose them.
Now, another dumb question, what about seed shortages this time of the year? Is it hard to find seed?
I've still got a pretty good supply of seed. There's a few varieties that are out that I can't get back in the beans, but I've still got like 3 or 4 good varieties of beans that can be replanted. I'm pretty well set on corn, cucumbers. We've still got a lot of supply of cucumber plants and seed. We've got a fair supply of tomatoes. Peppers I'm pretty much out of.
Okay.
But seed shortages and that are not as bad as people think they are. We've still got a pretty good supply of all that kind of stuff.
Okay, now let's move away from the garden just for a little bit and talk about the flowers. What about care of the flowers in this cold weather?
Well, petunias and geraniums are fairly tough if they've been out. They can pretty much handle down to about 29 before it starts doing any damage.
Wow.
Marigolds are going to freeze really easy. If you've got marigolds, you're going to want to get some cover on them. Planters and things like that have your fancier stuff like your begonias and things of that nature in planters and stuff, you're going to want to put some cover on that or move them indoors into a shed or hanging baskets. This wind beats the daylights out of them. Get them out of the wind if you possibly can and get them in a garage or in an area where they're not going to get beat and then possibly freeze.
You know, you told me one time on a program, I think it was last year, that they really were misnamed. Pansies and petunias, they're doggone John Wayne type flowers. They're not weaklings like we think they are.
No, pansies, this won't affect them at all. They'll grow like crazy in this kind of weather. They like the cool weather. Petunias, they, like I say, they can handle down to about a 28, 29 degrees before it does any major damage.
I can't handle 29 degrees. Woo!
Yeah, this is really. Last year it did the same thing to us. We had a couple of nights of killing frost last year, just about this same time frame. So it's out there. It just, I don't know. We seem to have these spells come through, and we just have to get prepared for them. Do the best we can.
What about lawn care? Is there anything that people need to know about lawns and all the pests and everything when they get the cold weather like this and kind of an up and down situation? Is there anything special or they need to do or be concerned about with their lawns?
Well, the lawns are pretty tough. They'll take care of pretty much everything. You just you can back your water up on your lawns when we have these heavy rains. You don't want to get it too wet or you start growing mushrooms when it warms up. But lawns are pretty tough in that type of situation. Good time to get your chemicals and stuff on your lawns because the rain will take them in and water them in and get them going.
What about new trees real quick and shrubbery?
Trees and stuff's a good time to plant them. They they go in, they don't have to struggle in the heat. They go in the cool, moist air. It helps them a lot. So, I mean, it's a good time to be planting trees. Other than the wind, you've got to be sure and stake your trees and things like that so the wind can't affect them.
Okay. It's time for the Vicky's gardening tip of the week, and I suppose the tip is stay warm.
Yep, stay warm and hopefully keep your plants warm. Grab a blanket and go out and cover your plants, and then take another blanket and cover yourself. Go in and have a hot cup of coffee and hope for the best.
Hot cup of coffee?
I thought it sounded better than what you and I'd go in.
There you go, Vicky. Hey, tell us, what are some of the specials over there at Vicky's this week?
Well, like I said, we still have a good supply of trees and shrubs and things of that nature. New perennials coming in every couple of times a week now, so just come in and see us. We've got pretty much all your landscaping supplies.
And the hours that you're open now?
We are open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5:30, and on Saturday we're 10 to 5, and on Sunday we'll be open another couple of weeks, possibly from 11 to 3.
Okay. This lady knows all about gardening, and she can help you. Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. The number to call, 438-5663. If you're chilly, come on over. I got an extra winter windbreaker for you, Vicky.
That'll work. I may come over. Okay. I may need one by this afternoon.
See you later. Thank you much.
All right. Hey, thanks, Zeb.
All righty. Bye-bye. Wonderful lady. I just really enjoy her. Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden. Right now, let's go to the weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Hello, Don Scarrow and the crew, serving you with the best tasting of meats, whether it's tri-tip or pork ribs or hams or bacons or sausages or bratwurst. Oh, it's delicious. Absolutely. Number to call, 324-7657, or go to scarrowsmeats.com. Absolutely. Right now, here's Gina with the weather. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Wind advisory for today, frost advisory for tonight and early tomorrow morning. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Not starting the week off in grand fashion as far as weather is concerned. Mostly cloudy skies for today. Rain showers off and on, and we are expecting a high of 57. Winds could gust as high as 40 miles an hour. Now, those rain showers are going to be tapering off. For tonight, mostly clear skies, looking at a low of 37. Gusts as high as 40 miles an hour, but that's putting us in that frost advisory. So you might want to cover those vegetables if you haven't planted. For tomorrow, sunny skies, high of 68. Wind's going to be dying down as well. Partly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 44. By Wednesday, sunny and mid-70s. Looks like mid-80s for Thursday. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Range.
I'll take it. Mid-80s, man, I'll tell you what, we're a far piece from that right now, I'll tell you. Hey, the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And I mean, go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com, and just check out all the delicious meats for you, your family, and the special occasions. Number to call, 324-7657. At Scarrows Meats, they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and this lady's done a really good job the last couple of weeks in talking about dogs that have been deserted or dogs that have been put up for adoption, and we're going over to the Minidoka County Animal Control. Deb Hines, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, Zeb. How do you like this winter weather?
I said earlier this morning, and you're an old cowgirl too, so you know what I'm talking about. I put the bandanas and the Carhartts and everything in the back part of the closet, but yesterday I got everything back out.
Exactly.
Oh. Man, I'm not that tough anymore for this cold weather. By the way, in dogs in general, what about the colder weather and then going to the heat? I mean, man, that's a big transition for where they're located outside. What about owners taking care of their dogs outside?
Well, my thing is, if they're not long-haired and they're not used to being outside, please don't leave them outside. We got a little guy that I want to talk about in the Dropbox, and he was one cold puppy when I got him here this morning, so obviously we brought him in because he's a short-haired dog.
Oh, my.
If they're long-haired or acclimated to the outside, they're going to be fine.
Yeah, but
if they're an indoor dog, you can't just throw them out at night and call it a good day.
No, not at all. You mean somebody, and again, it always bothers me when I think about dogs not being taken care of, or for that matter, any animal. You mean somebody, a short-haired dog, and it got down to in the 30s last night, they just dropped it off and left?
Yeah. That's exactly what happened.
Oh, my, that breaks my heart. And what about, what do you do then? I mean, do you have to take it in and try to find the owner, or is it kind of a lost cause and you just know that you got to find them another home? Give us the procedure on that.
Well, I have out in front of our dog boxes, I have a file full of paperwork that says, please, give me the information on the dog if your owner's surrendering it.
Yeah.
And as it is, this guy was owner surrendered, so the guy, he filled out the paperwork, so I know his name and I know about his shot records, but I have no idea why I wouldn't keep him. This dog is house trained.
Mm-hmm.
He will walk off leash and he won't leave your side.
Oh, my. What kind of a dog is he, Deb?
And are you ready for the breed?
Yeah.
This is a pit red border cross, and I am not joking you.
Oh, wait a minute. I got to run this by me again. A pit?
Red border cross.
I don't think I've ever seen a dog like that.
Neither have I until today.
Oh, my goodness. How big a dog is it?
Well, you know how tall I am. He's about to my knee.
I see. Okay. Which mean that he'd come up to my ankle, right? Okay. Well, the dog sounds like a really nice dog and everything, and he was left on a surrender basis. What about people that say, oh, gee, that might be just the dog for me? What do they do? What do they do?
Just give me a call and ask to come and see him. His name is Lucky, and the only thing he needs is to be neutered, and he's got all of his shots current and everything, including his rabies shot, but he's just a big baby.
Oh, my.
I've got 2 big stuffed dogs in my office. And he walked out there, and his hackles went up, and he started growling. And if you touched him, he would back off and run away. I'm not kidding. He's just a big boob.
What other dogs have you got that you want to...
We're in here all just dying laughing.
So he's not really the tough guy that his breed portrays, I see.
Yeah.
Well, give us a...
Look at him, you think you're going to lose the leg, but once you get to know him, you're going to realize that he's a chicken.
Okay, well, now we're talking chickens. What other dogs do you want to highlight this morning, Deb?
Well, I wanted to definitely highlight Lucky, and then I've got a little female German Shepherd. Her name's Honey.
Oh.
She's not even a year old. She came in heat and had puppies. So I don't know where her pups are, but I've got her, and she is not going to ever be a big dog. She's very loving. She wants to be with people. She gets along with our other dogs, so she'd just be a great family pet, I think. The way she acts around everybody, she just loves us.
Have you ever had a German Shepherd?
Yes, I have.
So have I. When I was growing up back in Wisconsin, my dad had a German Shepherd. And I got to tell you that no matter where us kids went or what we did, that German Shepherd was always there, kind of like my dad's hired watchdog for us. And they're so loyal, and I love them. They're absolutely one of the breeds I love.
Yeah, she is a doll. She is just, like I said, the fact that she's had pups already before she's a year old was kind of upsetting, but I'll get her in, we'll get her into a decent home or a good home and not have to worry about that again. But if you want something that's going to love you to death, this will be her.
Yeah. Deb, when you get a dog over there, regardless of the breed or the circumstances, what are some of the things and precautions that you have to use or do with every dog so that you find out a little bit more about their personality?
Well, the first thing we do is I bring them indoors, and then we work with them, find out if they know any commands. Then we take them outside and walk them on a leash. We do a 100% eval on those dogs.
I see.
And then we, if they were here very long, we reevaluate them. Because sometimes, the stress of being in this place is not necessarily good for them, so sometimes they start to do a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
So we work with them that way. And thankfully, I've got volunteer young people that come in and walk these dogs. So
okay.
I can keep them socialized.
Good.
But that's the first thing we do is a major evaluation on them, and then try to keep them the way we find them.
Now, let me ask you, I've only got about 30 seconds left here. We mentioned it last week. When people want to come by and look at the dogs, especially the features this week, Lucky and Honey, where do they go or what numbers can they call?
They can call 208-438-2200. That's the shelter, and we will set them up with an appointment. And when they get here, we'll get the dog and bring it over and let them walk at the front yard and play with it. Like, just do it like it was their dog and do with it. So they see if it's going to work.
Okay. I guess I'm going to ask and kind of put myself out on the clothesline a little bit. How are we doing so far? Are we getting some good owners to come over and look at some nice dogs?
Yes, we are. We are.
Great.
In fact, it's been really neat, so thank you. And I'm glad to have, and we're getting donations, and I love this valley so much because they are helping us so much, and we're getting good homes for these dogs that, it breaks my heart when they come in here.
Well, I want to tell you how much I enjoy you taking the time to come on our program with Minidoka County Animal Control, Deb Hines, and thank you. Don't forget the featured dogs of this week are Lucky and Honey, and Deb can tell you all about them. Deb, thanks so much for being on the program. We'll talk to you next Monday.
Thanks for having me, Zeb. Have a good rest of your week.
All right, thank you very, very much. Wow, we're about ready to wrap it up and put it back in the box for today. Man, this 3 hours went fast. Must have blown down the road just like the wind outside. Tomorrow on the show, great program. Dan Kish and the governor of Idaho, Brad Little, Dr. History, and then Dr. Dean Hart talking about the hopefully final stages of coronavirus so that we can kind of kiss it goodbye, wave it goodbye, whatever. We're going to have all those folks on the air tomorrow morning. And don't forget, we always wrap up the program by saying the way things were are the way things ought to be. But the 4 words that mean the most to me, I hope to you, in God we trust. We're going to be back here again tomorrow morning at 8:06. Zeb at the Ranch. God bless. Talk to you then.